After the Battle of Thapsus, the remaining Pompeian forces turned to Hispania. In the spring of 46 BC, 2 legions in Hispania Ulterior declared their loyalty to Gnaeus Pompeius, Pompey's son. The Pompeian forces grouped together under the commands of various commanders, including the brothers Gnaeus and Sextus Pompeius, and the skilled general Titus Labienus. Before I proceed further, I have a humble request to make. I would greatly appreciate if you could support me by subscribing to my channel. Thank you. Let's continue now. This force managed to raise an army of 4 legions using the province's resources, taking control of most of Hispania Ulterior, including important Roman colonies like Italica and Cordoba. Caesar's generals, Quintus Fabius Maximus and Quintus Pedius, refrained from engaging in battle and sought help from Caesar while stationed at Abulco. Consequently, Caesar had to travel from Rome to Hispania to confront the Pompeius brothers. He brought 3 trusted veteran legions and 1 newer legion, but mostly relied on the recruits already present in Hispania. The journey covered about 1,500 miles and took less than a month, with Caesar arriving in early December. Upon arriving in Hispania Baetica, Caesar found the Pompeians laying siege to Iulia, one of the few towns that remained loyal to him. To reinforce Iulia's defenders, Caesar sent Lucius Vibius Pacificus, one of his trusted officers who knew the area well, with 6 cohorts comprising around 2,000 to 3,000 legionaries. In the meantime, Caesar himself led his main army towards Cordoba, hoping to draw the Pompeians away from Iulia. While en route, Caesar's vanguard clashed with Sextus Pompeius' cavalry, inadvertently alerting the Pompeians to his presence. Realizing the threat, Sextus sent word to his brother Gnaeus, who was leading the siege of Iulia, and requested reinforcements. Responding to the urgency, Gnaeus abandoned the siege and marched with the entire Pompeian army to aid his brother. However, Caesar faced a significant obstacle. Sextus had either blocked or destroyed the bridge across the Baetis River leading to Cordoba. Undeterred, Caesar improvised and constructed a makeshift bridge to get his army across the river. Once on the other side, he set up a camp near Cordoba. The situation escalated as Gnaeus and Labienus arrived with the Pompeian army, and fierce skirmishes ensued on the bridge, resulting in heavy casualties on both sides. Recognizing that this confrontation would not lead to a decisive outcome, Caesar devised a daring plan. Under the cover of darkness, his armies slipped out of their camp and successfully crossed a river to march on the fortified city of Ategua. Upon reaching Ategua, Caesar began a relentless siege, constructing several camps around the city. Gnaeus and Labienus attempted to surprise Caesar by marching their army around his positions, taking advantage of a thick fog to conceal their movements. During this maneuver, they managed to surprise and defeat some of Caesar's pickets. However, as the fog lifted, Caesar's strategic positioning became apparent. He had secured all the high ground around the city and entrenched his forces effectively. Realizing the disadvantage, Gnaeus and Labienus retreated to a camp they had built to the west of Caesar's positions. Despite the setback, Gnaeus remained resolute in his efforts to dislodge Caesar from his superior position. He launched an attack on one of Caesar's camps, but the tide turned against him when Caesar sent reinforcements, including the V, 6, and X legions, to support the defenders. As the campaign progressed, Caesar received reinforcement from his allies, notably King Bogud of West Mauritania, strengthening his position further. Gnaeus and Labienus, advised by Labienus, decided to avoid an open battle and instead resorted to delaying tactics, forcing Caesar to wage a winter campaign while ensuring provisions for his army. In early 45 BC, a pro-Caesarian faction within Ategua attempted to surrender the city to Caesar, but when the Pompeian garrison learned of this, they executed the pro-Caesarian leaders. Despite the setback, the Pompeian garrison's attempt to fight their way through Caesar's lines failed, leading to the city's eventual surrender. This significant victory dealt a blow to the Pompeian confidence, resulting in some native allies deserting to Caesar's side. Following the capture of Antigua, Caesar began constructing a camp near the Pompeian camp situated across the river Salsum. Seizing an opportunity, Gnaeus launched a swift attack that initially caught Caesar off guard. However, the heroic actions and sacrifice of 2 centurions from the 5th Legion stabilized the line and prevented a total rout. In response to this setback, Caesar decided to retreat to Soracarea, cutting off one of the Pompeian supply lines. This move was successful, and in a skirmish near Soracarea on March 7th, Caesar emerged victorious, leading to an increasing number of Romans in the Pompeian camp contemplating defection. Despite the setbacks, Gnaeus Pompeius continued his determined march southwards, heading towards the town of Munda, where he intended to face Caesar's forces in a decisive battle. The stakes were high, and the stage was set for a climactic confrontation between Caesar and the Pompeians. The clash between the 2 armies occurred in the plains of Munda, located in southern Spain. The Pompeian forces held a strategic position on a gentle hill situated less than a mile from the walls of Munda, providing them with a defensible advantage. On one side, Caesar commanded 8 legions, along with 8,000 horsemen and an undisclosed number of light infantry. On the other side, Pompeius led 13 legions, around 6,000 light infantry, and approximately 6,000 horsemen. A significant portion of the Pompeian soldiers had previously surrendered to Caesar in earlier campaigns but had later deserted their ranks to join the Pompeian forces. These soldiers fought with great desperation, fearing that they would not be pardoned again, especially after Caesar's execution of prisoners following his last major victory at Thapsus. Initially, Caesar attempted an unsuccessful ploy to lure the Pompeians down the hill but eventually ordered a frontal attack with the watchword Venus, the goddess believed to be his ancestor. The fierce battle raged on for an exhausting 8 hours, with neither side gaining a clear advantage. The intensity of the fighting compelled the generals to abandon their commanding positions and personally join the ranks. Caesar himself took command of the right wing, where his beloved Legion 10th faced heavy resistance. With Caesar's inspiration, the 10th Legion gradually pushed back the Pompeian forces. Recognizing the perilous situation, Gnaeus Pompeius made a crucial mistake by weakening his right wing to reinforce the threatened left wing. Seizing the opportunity, Caesar's cavalry launched a decisive attack, altering the course of the battle. King Bogud and his Mauritanian cavalry played a vital role by breaking through the flank and attacking the rear of the Pompeian army. In response to the cavalry charge, Titus Labienus, the commander of the Pompeian cavalry, moved some troops to intercept the Mauritanian cavalry. However, the Pompeian army misinterpreted Labienus's move, mistakenly believing he was retreating, which led to a breakdown of their lines. The Pompeian legions fled the battlefield in disarray, with some seeking refuge within the walls of Munda, but many more perishing in the rout. The aftermath of the battle was devastating for the Pompeian forces, with approximately 30,000 soldiers dead on the field. In contrast, Caesar's losses were relatively lighter, amounting to about 1,000 casualties. All 13 standards of the Pompeian legions were captured, signifying their complete disbandment. Among the notable casualties, Titus Labienus and Attius Verus perished on the field but were granted a burial by Caesar. Gnaeus Pompeius, however, managed to escape from the battlefield. After the decisive Battle of Munda, Caesar entrusted his legate Quintus Fabius Maximus with the task of besieging Munda while he focused on pacifying the province. The city of Corduba surrendered to Caesar's forces. However, the armed men present in the town, mostly armed slaves, were executed, and the city was compelled to pay a significant indemnity as a consequence. Munda, on the other hand, held out for some time, attempting unsuccessfully to break the siege before finally surrendering. The surrender resulted in the capture of 14,000 prisoners. As for Gnaeus Pompeius, he sought refuge on land but was eventually cornered by the Caesarian forces and met his demise. Despite the continued presence of Sextus Pompeius after the victory at Munda, there were no more conservative armies left to challenge Caesar's authority. When Caesar returned to Rome, he celebrated a triumph for his victory. That's how the Civil War ended, with Caesar's triumph. However, his success and newfound power were short-lived. As we know, Caesar was assassinated a year later by a group of statesmen led by Brutus and Cassius. That's all for today. See you in the next episode of the Battles in History. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please give it a like and share with your friends. And if you have any suggestions for me, please let me know in the comments section. Thanks for watching and have a great day ahead.